Let's take a quick look at a mock IEP for fourth grader Mythical Student. Every year, a student's progress relative to their IEP is reviewed. This is their annual IEP review meeting. Every 3 years, a triennial review is held, and the student undergoes an entire battery of assessments to make sure that having an individualized education plan is still in their best interest, and to be sure that they are still eligible for special education services under federal eligibility criteria. On this part of the first page, you can see the various eligibility categories that are delineated by the federal government. You can see that our student Mythical has been found eligible for an individualized education plan because she has a specific learning disability. Also on this first page is a little section that asks the author of the IEP to describe what the student's disability looks like in the classroom. Moving on to the second page of the IEP document, Mythical's strengths and interests, not necessarily in school, are listed, as well as the concerns of her parents relevant to her educational progress. The next section shows us how well Mythical performed on her year-end standardized state testing. And here are her latest results for hearing and vision tests done at school. The lines immediately following offer a snapshot of Mythical's status in a few categories of school performance. Here you can see that Mythical is having some social and emotional issues that will probably be a topic of discussion at her IEP meeting. Keep in mind that many sections of this document will be authored based on feedback provided by you and other members of the IEP team. The top of page 3, Special Factors, asks if Mythical will benefit from any forms of assistive technology. In this case, we will say yes. Because of her reading difficulties, it would be useful if she had text-to-speech readers available in the classroom. Here is information about a student's English learning status and whether or not their behavior impedes their learning or the learning of others. In this case, we will say yes. Again, this will be something that will be brought up at the IEP meeting for Mythical. This next page, the annual goals page, is very important for you because the students' annual goals will be developed based on your data and description of their present level of performance in areas of concern. You will also be responsible for helping to measure the child's progress towards mastery of these goals as the year goes on. You can see that both goals begin with a baseline, and then there's a measurable annual goal that describes where the student will hopefully be at next year's annual meeting. Notice the yellow highlighted box that indicates that you, the general education teacher, is at least in part responsible for helping the student meet this goal. The student's progress toward meeting this goal will be indicated several times a year. And now to the Supplementary Aids and Services page, part of the offer of FAPE made to this child. Here you can see listed all aids, services, program accommodations and modifications and/or supports legally called for in this child's IEP. These will be discussed and developed at the IEP meeting. The far right column, labeled Location, specifies in which settings these supports must be provided to the student. Well, that's an IEP in a very brief nutshell. Think of this document as a collaborative work in progress that goes into effect once it has been signed by the parent and attending IEP team members.